Aloha, this is Sky with FNN, Feminist News Network, the feminist news that's right for you. Welcome to On Location with Sky and FNN. We're giving you the news today on the voter suppression in Georgia and what's going on with Stacey Abrams. Well, she's not backing down, and that's for damn sure. All right, now that's the kind of DOS women we like to see in office. Now let's take a look at what she had to say on election night in regards to what's happening with her non-concession to secede.
One of the nation's most closely watched races of the year remains too close to call. Georgia Secretary of State Brian Kemp holding a slim lead over Democratic challenger Stacey Abrams, who is vying to be the first African-American woman governor in U.S. history. But Abrams is refusing to concede because thousands of absentee ballots have not yet been counted. Kemp is currently at 50.5%. If he dips below 50, the race goes to a runoff. The Georgia race was marred by widespread allegations of voter suppression carried out by Brian Kemp, again, who is, as Georgia Secretary of State, is in control of the elections, despite the fact many demanded that he recuse himself.
But he meant it the way he said it, what is to create an other, to dehumanize people. To bring all of these illegals into Georgia to vote, to steal the election away from these hardworking, which is coded white Georgians. That, we've got to understand the power of that. And that power, frankly, for so many, too many, is more powerful than what looking at these individual issues mean. They know what it means when you don't have water. They know what it means when you don't have health care. But it is that power of fear. That's the work that has to be done. And that's, Rashad talked about the need to have those kinds of conversations happening within the white community. That is some of the groundwork that must happen so that we can begin to see the kind of America that we really deserve.
That's Professor Carol Anderson, chair of the African American Studies Department at Emory University in Atlanta, speaking last night from Georgia. Early this morning, Stacey Abrams vowed to remain in the race.
Democracy only works when we work for it, when we fight for it, when we demand it. And apparently today, when we stand in lines for hours to meet it at the ballot box, that's when democracy works. But I'm here tonight to tell you, votes remain to be counted. There are voices that were waiting to be heard. Across our state, folks are opening up the dreams of voters in absentee ballots, and we believe our chance for a stronger Georgia is just within reach. But we cannot seize it until all voices are heard. And I promise you tonight, we're going to make sure that every vote is counted. Every single vote. Every vote's getting counted.
That's Stacey Abrams. Thousands of votes have yet to be counted. And again, if during this count Brian Kemp dips below 50% of the vote, there will be a runoff race in December. Final ballots from the midterm elections get tallied. A handful of races are still too close to call or will head to runoffs, including 3 Senate races, 12 in the House, and Georgia's governorship, where Democratic candidate Stacey Abrams is refusing to concede as a number of absentee and provisional ballots have yet to be counted. A nonprofit group filed an emergency lawsuit Tuesday to prevent Georgia Secretary of State Brian Kemp, Stacey Abrams' Republican opponent, from any involvement in election results, including a possible runoff or recount. Turnout for Tuesday's election was higher than any midterm election in the past 50 years, with an estimated 114 million people casting ballots. But still, half the population, voting age population, did not vote.
I know you heard that. Exactly. I wouldn't back out either. Why should she? There's still uncounted votes out there that needs to be counted. And if anything, she is right about having Greg Palast go ahead and get together to do a lawsuit. But what's a shame is that he has to raise money and the DNC is not behind her to make sure this happens and she gets in and gets through. Maybe because she might have too many progressive issues she wants to pass for her state that the DNC isn't down with, that might influence those that are going to the Senate in Georgia. Well, Lucy McBath ain't gonna be changed because her agenda is no guns and she's gonna make sure Georgia gets it. All right. Now, I agree that she should not concede. And we all know this due to the votes that are being suppressed. 53,000 that had to be put back on the ballot that he has suppressed, and the way he was suppressing it. Let's take a look at what George Palast had to say about the Georgia suppression of the vote, and then we'll talk some more.
Is Raheem Shabazz. His voter registration was canceled.
I won't be able to vote for the November 6th election.
Canceled, along with the registrations of more than 340,134 other Georgians, all based on faulty information. Who canceled all these Georgians' right to vote?
You're going to have Georgia turn into Venezuela.
Kemp is running for governor while he's also running the election as Georgia's Secretary of State. How could Kemp purge all these voters? Kemp claims he sent each one a postcard. Raheem says otherwise.
I never received a postcard from Brian Kemp, Secretary of State, or none of that.
He only found out he lost his vote by looking at this reporter's website.
I went on gregpalast.com website, and lo and behold, my name is there.
Then I showed Raheem the cards Kemp claims he sends. And they sent it to his old address just down the road, even though he changed his address on his driver's license.
But I will receive a parking ticket. You know, I received my title for my car from the DMV that has my address on it. They know where I'm at. They know where to find me. It's not hard.
Kemp claims not returning the postcard proves Raheem left Atlanta or left Georgia entirely.
I never left the state of Georgia. I never left the county. My license has me in the same county. So all they had to do was look at my DMV record and they will see that I live in the same county.
But Kemp never checks his own state DMV, not even the post office when canceling voters' rights. But he does check your voting record. If you miss the postcard and miss 2 elections, Kemp says that's absolute proof you've moved.
I didn't vote in the last 2 elections. That is very problematic because you have a constitutional right to vote and a constitutional right not to vote, right?
He's absolutely right. The National Voter Registration Act says that voting is a fundamental right, and you cannot lose your vote for not voting. But the law does allow Kemp to cleanse the voter rolls of those who've moved from Georgia.
I wouldn't call it cleansing the voting roll. I would call it ethnic cleansing.
Exactly. And that's why that suit was needed. Now, we need to stand by Stacey and make sure that these votes are counted, because when it comes down to the 50% mark with Kemp, we're going to have a runoff. And there deserves to be more than a runoff. Stacey deserves to win because they know they holding back the votes just like they did with Tim Canova. There's no way Debbie Wasserman Schultz won with all those votes when nobody in Florida is admitting to even voting for her. Now, if you agree with me, contact me at FeministNewsN@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Feminist News Network, and like my Facebook page, Feminist News Network, where I give you motivational information and news that women need to know, and you too. So, I appreciate you watching. Thanks for joining, and let's stand by and make sure we keep you updated. Because we are at FNN on Stacey's becoming the first black governor in Georgia. Peace.